I'm ready. I think you're ready. Are you guys ready? Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello. Yes, hello again. We're gonna say this is the official start of our show, and it is Torn Tuesday. This is our playful acronym for theonering.net. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Theonering.net spells torn.
T-O-R-N.
This is Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Why do we sound like a Natalie Imbruglia song every time? I keep trying to explain.
She had one big hit, and it was called Torn.
You're
going
huge hit.
deep on that.
Deep cuts for 90s music, but seriously, it was the late 90s when the OneRing.net began. We have a pedigree. I don't know if you guys need this explained to you, but I get the feeling that we've got a lot of new audience. Folks, welcome to the show.
We've been doing this show for 6 years, over 300 episodes. Sometimes we call it a podcast, and it's not really a podcast because you can't download it yet as a podcast. It's only live, and we're live here on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. So find the One Ring Net, all one word, on any of those platforms.
Yes.
And find us on Skype. If you search for the One Ring Net on Skype, the name will come up as Barlaman Butterbur.
The esteemed owner and proprietor of the Prancing Pony in the village of Bree. Yes, we named our Skype after Barlaman Butterbur because Skype is a place where everybody loves to go and talk and hang out.
That's right.
So that's why we named it.
And we want you to talk and hang out on Skype. So find us.
Look at that.
Look for Barlaman Butterbur.
See the number going over my head?
Add us as a friend. And you can call into the show and be a part of the show.
There it is.
You can also be a part of the show here in Hollywood.
Nice and slow.
We are at the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
That's right, Justin.
Like, you have to see this place. Hold on. Let's bring it up. Let's go to the wide shot.
Take it out. Take us out.
Look at this amazing place. This is the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
Look at that.
It is a full-time restaurant and bar. It is all ages, and it is open to the public. And we invite all of you to come visit our little show here every Tuesday. You can sit at the bar.
Please, bring it.
Be a part of the conversation.
Yes.
Because this show is all about the fans, for fans. And we hopefully we have some visitors by the end of the show, sitting here at the counter and opining on the latest news that we have.
Opining. What a great verb, to opine. Hey there. Welcome. So it's an exciting show, nonetheless.
Nonetheless.
If you're not here live with us in person, and God knows we will pull you into the show if you're here because we have so much excitement in the air of Tolkien fandom.
So much news in the last week.
So much news and excitement. Justin here, our producer and co-host with me, your amiable Ent Quickbeam is my nickname on the OneRing.net.
Yep.
I've been a writer and contributor for the One Ring for about 18 years now, and I also wrote and produced the feature documentary film, which was released by Sony, called Ringers, Lord of the Fans.
That was a great documentary.
Thank you. I think it's a jolly good film that actually still holds up rather well.
It's a snapshot of fandom, Tolkien fandom, through all the ages. You go through all the different decades, the 30s, the 40s, the 60s, when Bilbo Baggins by Leonard Nimoy, and then all the way into the animation of the 70s and 80s.
We talk about the advent of the internet and how the internet in the early 90s changed everything and how fans actually communicated with each other. And we built a documentary that would be sort of like a time capsule.
Yeah.
How did people respond to The Lord of the Rings when it was first published in the 50s? And we learn how people respond to it generation by generation and pass it down to their kids. And it's a very impactful message, I think. And I really have to say, thank you guys for supporting us all these years. The OneRing.net.
And we're just getting started.
All these years, we're still going strong.
We're next year's our 20th anniversary, and
we
couldn't be more excited because
really
we are on the cusp of a new era of Tolkien fandom. You might need a sequel to Ringers, Lord of the Fans.
Oh my gosh!
Because the news in the last 6 months, if you haven't been paying attention, is Amazon has acquired the TV rights to Lord of the Rings, working directly with the Tolkien estate. The Tolkien estate made this happen. This is legit. This is official. And
hey, Nathan. Hi, Kay. Hi,
Jeff
Jerry.
Bezos himself has committed $1 billion and a minimum of 5 seasons for a Lord of the Rings series to show on Amazon Prime with the full support of the Tolkien estate. In fact, they're going to be
a distinction that is so worth repeating.
Yes.
Because never before, not even when Ralph Bakshi made his film in the 70s,
Nope.
and not when Peter Jackson made his amazing and groundbreaking live-action trilogy, the Tolkien estate was not directly involved. They had no guidance. They had no creative input over the work that these other filmmakers were doing.
Much to their frustration.
Much to their deep and long-lasting frustration. That led to lawsuits after lawsuits. It led to so much trouble.
15 years of lawsuits, at least.
So much trouble.
So
now those lawsuits are all settled.
All lawsuits have settled. All parties have been taken care of.
Yes.
MGM is out of the picture. Harvey Weinstein is out of the picture.
Oh, thank God
and
for simple truths.
They are starting from scratch, and it is in the contract that the Tolkien estate or representatives of the Tolkien estate will be involved in the creative decisions of this new show.
To what degree the Tolkien estate will be involved is one of the biggest important things that we're going to hold on to. We will come back to that later on in today's conversation.
That's right.
Because the OneRing.net, and I mean you and I, personally talked about it live on our show last Tuesday, and then I went to Twitter and I wrote a tweet thread that was heard around the world.
Come join us at the bar.
And you guys probably are here now because you read that tweet thread. Have a seat, Kathy, and make yourself at home.
Yeah.
Any one of these seats.
See, we're already being joined.
We're already being joined by live folks are coming to us live.
That's right.
Live.
The camera's over there, Kathy. Wave hi.
See that?
Hi.
That's Kathy. This is Kathy, one of our longtime staff members, who has also been a writer and editor and supporter of the OneRing.net. And keep in mind, everybody at Torn, everybody's a volunteer.
That's right.
It's a web community that has been based all around volunteerism. Nobody at the OneRing.net has ever done anything except volunteer their time.
That's
at
right.
All the conventions that we do and the events and this live show, we're volunteering. We did.
Oh yeah, everything's out of pocket.
Everything's out of pocket. So, I mean, hi, good to see you. And we're going to get a microphone for you shortly, my dear. But yeah, you guys heard the tweet that was heard around the world.
Around the world.
I'm not so sure, but we got a lot of traction on a conversation about the Amazon $500 million sounding? Any worse, any better? I'd like to step outside with you for 2 seconds and have a word in private. Nope. Nope. Sending a word in private.
Oh, there comes David. Let's answer David.
Want me to try that?
Hi, David.
Are we back?
Are you back?
No, David. Justin says we're back, but it doesn't. I don't know if we are back yet.
Well, I think that would have to be. Okay, so maybe this just needs to be David, are you there?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Well,
hi.
I'm driving. I didn't expect to have video.
Yeah.
So-
No worries. And we had where we were actually off the air, so we don't. I think we're on the air. How are you, David?
I'm just dandy. I'm driving to get my Imperial Staff Officer rank bar so that I can dress up to see Solo tomorrow.
Well, you're gonna go see it tomorrow.
I am. No, wait, not tomorrow. Thursday.
Thursday. I'm going to see it Thursday too. I'm going to be over there at the Chinese in a little while after the show.
Yeah, I think I'll be hopefully sitting near you guys because Justin's going to try to get my tickets for us.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, since I'm gonna be there at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna try and get tickets, the good seats. Yeah. So if Justin goes over, then we'll all get good seats together.
I don't want to see anything go
Can you guys hear me, by the way? Is this
Yes,
okay?
we can totally hear you.
Okay, great.
I don't know
Did
if our
you guys
audience
already
can hear
talk
you.
about potential casting for Aragorn?
Yeah, we're talking about that. Well, we will be as soon as Peter and Cliff stop talking.
Sorry about that. Hey.
So he asked about central casting for young Aragorn.
Hello, Mr. David Baxter. So,
Hey,
yes, hello, welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, it is a pleasure to have your voice with us.
Can you all hear us?
There he is.
Can they hear
David.
us? That's the question.
wait. I hope you can't see me.
No,
I'm
it's
driving
not
a
you.
car.
We're
That
talking
could be
to
really deadly.
the feed. We need them to tell us if they can hear us.
Everything's great, and guess what, David? The only thing we're looking at is that static.
He's driving.
I know. I'm explaining to him that we cannot see you, David. We can only see
Oh,
that
but-
static picture of you on your Skype profile. That's all we were looking at.
Yes, that's from San Diego Comic-Con with everybody It's the UK show.
Yes.
And go see Bad Samaritan.
Yep.
You really get a sense of that he could play
The
a
range,
kingly character.
yeah, he has quite a good range.
Yes, indeed. Hey, thanks to MoviePass, I'm going to go see Bad Samaritan like as soon as we're done here with
And
this show.
I have a free gift bag.
So
Awesome,
great.
guys.
How cool.
Well,
Bye.
that's my 2 cents. Take it easy and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Baxter. Awesome sauce. I love hearing about Rob Sheehan because there's been multiple people floating around on our Twitter timeline and a lot of other people in private conversation who have said, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if blank could step into the role of young Aragorn? And the 2 names that I've heard the most often are, really, believe it or not, Academy Award nominee from Call Me By Your Name, Timothée Chalamet,
Wow.
as often as I've heard the name Rob Sheehan, who you can see on the silver screen right now in Bad Samaritan, playing opposite Doctor Who. I mean, playing opposite Barty.
Kale Ehrenreich.
Playing opposite Barty Crouch. Sorry. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, it's true though. You can
Yes.
opposite the evil purple guy from Jessica Jones. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that?
Oh yeah.
I love making connections, like the threads of these connections to what these actors have been in and are working in together. I think it's always so cool to do that.
Yeah.
I will give a big recommendation to Ghost Stories. If you guys are Martin Freeman fans and you're ready to get a really good dose of Martin Freeman playing a very well-to-do, wealthy rural Englishman who is rather fastidious and has too much time on his hands alone. Sounds like Bilbo? No, it's not. He's actually playing a character who's exactly like that in Ghost Stories. It's so worth seeing, and it's creepy as hell. It is so good.
Well,
good.
and he's also got a new series that's going to be on Netflix.
He does.
Something with him carrying a baby and being chased by unknown.
I think that's a single film, not a series.
Yes, yeah,
I think it's a single
but
feature.
But it's coming out, because I kept going, why is Martin Freeman carrying a baby?
Martin Freeman is in everything these days.
Yes,
he's
he
in
is.
everything
He was
except
in Fargo.
except Infinity War. It's the only thing he's not in.
I know he's not in.
Okay, the only thing Martin Freeman.
There's a part 2, right? Well, sort of a part 2. There's another one
yes,
coming.
we know it. We know
Yeah.
that.
Unless, of course, he's dust. He could be cornflakes. We don't know.
Oh, we don't know. But all right, we've got Skype. We've got the hotline. Here it is, floating over our heads.
And we have a list.
Yeah, 53064 FRODO. Call us. Give us a text. We'll bring you into the show live. Kathy.
Yes.
Hi. Welcome to our show here at Scum and Villainy Cantina.
And I would have been here a little bit earlier, but I was working, and somebody called me 5 minutes before I turned the phone off. And
my
then talked for
goodness.
half an hour.
Yeah.
At work. It was a work thing.
Work
so,
is work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as a travel agent, which is why I have my passport, I was thinking, what would be some awesome locations for young Aragorn to go visit some lands we have not seen? I mean, we know about New Zealand, but if they're going to go for a new look, what else would work? What lands would you want to see? I mean, obviously we've got Rohan.
I'm most interested. If you're going to talk about the geography of Middle Earth, I can spend all 90 minutes going to all these different. We know that under the assumed name of Estelle, he stayed safe in Rivendell for a very long time as a youth, and I'm interested in seeing more of Rivendell. Literally, we've only seen like the front forecourt. We've seen that famous
the public type buildings, the public spaces.
We've seen the outdoor place where the dwarves ate their meal and have a food fight. Happens to be the exact same courtyard where they had the Council of Elrond to debate what to do with the ring.
Yes, and then we've seen the library, and that's about it.
I want to see more. There was a nice outdoor pavilion where Kate Blanchett looks gorgeous.
See it from a distance.
Yeah.
So let's get in and really.
More Rivendell. Okay, then when he grows up, Estelle takes on another nickname, another alias, because his identity has been hidden so that the enemy would not come after him and destroy the final bloodline of
wearing
both
the
Gondor
ring of
and
Barahir-
Arnor.
Wearing the ring of Barahir was a dead giveaway, though.
Dead giveaway, but I'm sure that,
As a child, he probably wasn't.
it was
wearing a lot.
being kept safe, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then as Thorongil, we get to see him run around to Rohan and fight in battles with, Thengel, Theoden's dad.
Yeah, because
Right?
I love that sequence where Theoden is like going, weren't you here, fighting with my dad and everything like that when I was a kid? And he was like, oh yeah, we met when you were a kid. I love that sequence, and then the fact that it also happened in Gondor.
Yes.
With Ecthelion.
Yes, that's right. I mean, but some other amazing places where we know Aragorn went is beyond the edges of the map. He went to the far, farthest places of the east, to the land of Hrun, where they have a big inland sea, like an inland, body of water, a big lake, and it's like one of those things that Tolkien only sketched a couple of features out on the side of the map. We never see anything else about it. We never hear anything about it. We'd love to learn more of this.
Yeah.
I want to see how far east they're going to go and what
Cliff?
other cultures and people Aragorn will have contact with as he travels.
Plus, when they went looking for Gollum later on in the sort of in-between, because it's still before the War of the Ring,
Yeah.
but it's those in-between years of looking for Gollum. And where was Gollum hiding? Because he was somewhere between Mordor and the
Yes.
Misty Mountains.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Hey,
where
Cliff,
did Gollum go?
Yes.
let's look at this breaking news that we're getting in from Germany.
This is another big juicy bit of business that I'm really. Did you read this?
I have not yet.
Kathy, did you know this?
This is big news. According to let's preface that this is a source that is reputable. Herr der Ring is it has been in existence for a long time. They're a German Lord of the Rings fan site that have scooped a lot of news over the years. They've broken a lot of news. They're very well connected. They help organize and support
Herr der Ring?
all of the European Tolkien conventions.
Yes.
So this is our equivalent. I'd like to say this is the One Ring equivalent in German.
Yes.
And
what does it say?
they are
Yes.
saying that that there are plans to build the sets as permanent locations in Middle Earth.
But
How
is
about
is
that?
Middle Earth in New Zealand, or is Middle Earth going to be in a different location?
In New
Unknown
Zealand.
yet.
So basically, we've
Are we
reached
sure
out.
it's New Zealand?
We've reached out to a couple of our friends in the tourism board, and it sounds like the government of New Zealand and the New Zealand Tourism Board is working with Weta Workshop, Amazon, and the producers at New Line Cinema to make sure that all of the sets built for this TV series will be permanent structures.
Let's add
Does that mean
another-
I should also talk to my sources at the Tourism New
Yes.
Zealand that gave me a free trip to New Zealand in November?
Yes.
Okay, not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay.
No vid, no sound, according to
Oh, we're
Facebook.
down again.
Justin, according to Facebook chat, there's no video, no sound.
Okay.
Okay? What's really distinct to me is that news from the German website is telling us that also they want to keep a consistent design element, that their overriding concern
If you were Amazon, wouldn't you?
is to keep the design elements cohesive with what Peter Jackson's films already are. How are we, Justin? Good. Now, think about this, guys, for just a minute.
Yes. Yes, David or David.
Yes, David. Sorry, he can't hear or see that,
Yeah.
so he wouldn't know unless we typed a reply.
You could type.
Someone or something.
So this is a big deal. Like, no matter if Peter Jackson is involved or not, the fact that the government in New Zealand is willing to open up national park lands. Cliff, you can talk a little bit about, and
No.
Kathy, you can talk a little bit about why they had to clean up after themselves when they were filming Lord of the Rings. I mean, it was a big deal
Oh, yeah.
that they were shooting on public land.
Well, no, they weren't always on public land. A lot of times they were also on private land. So this is where it becomes interesting as to whether or not they're going to use original locations that they've used before as the location, or whether they're going to find other locations. Because a lot of the places, when you went to the hilltop, that Mount Sunday where Meadowseld was, that was a cattle farm. When you went to the scene where Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are running across the plains, that was a woman's sheep farm. Met her, leaned on the rock, but so a lot of those were people's actual their land. It's farmland.
Yes.
So, like the Alexander family that sort of cut out that little niche of land specifically for the Hobbiton, they still have a sheep farm all the way around it.
Yes.
So obviously they could do that, but some of the places are so inaccessible. It's
Yeah.
like, really?
Well, we instead of going down to that rabbit hole about where they're going to shoot in New Zealand,
Yeah.
we don't even know if they're going to shoot in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Instead, let's talk about the real granular stuff that we have in front of us concerning this new Lord
Hi,
of the Rings
Jeff.
series. Hello, Mr. Jeff Scott in Napier, New Zealand. It's a pleasure to have you with us live on the show.
Yes, we'll see you in San Diego, Jeff.
Yep. San Diego Comic-Con is coming up at the end of July. We're all going to be there. If what we hear is true from the Lord of the Rings website, Der Herr der Ringe in Deutschland, in Germany, if the German website is accurate, and let us hope that they are, we already know that they're casting for young Aragorn. They're reaching out to other vendors to have them pitch, other art departments and other people who produce things along the lines of what Weta makes have been pitching stuff relative to that storyline.
Yeah.
And when I wrote that tweet thread, I wanted everybody to feel some of my own energy and my enthusiasm about how much richness and what a great amount of story material is there in the
yeah.
appendices, while many people brought a counterpoint to my enthusiasm by saying, you really don't have a lot of stuff in the appendices that Professor Tolkien wrote. It was like just sketches and brief outlines, and some fans, and I must admit, although they were very thoughtful in how they presented their case, they were definitely the minority. Like
Yeah.
the majority, overwhelmingly, the
Hi,
majority of
Kay.
fans are like, wow, they're really going to make young Aragorn happen. That means we can maybe see Glorfindel, who has never made it to any Lord of the Rings adaptation.
That
we
would
might
be awesome.
we might
That would
meet
be
the
awesome.
other people in Elrond's family, like what happened to his wife, which was a tragic story,
And Elrohir and Eladin.
and his twin sons.
I'm waiting for the twins.
I mean, an interesting cat. Hey, you got Winklevoss twins. What is Armie Hammer doing? Armie Hammer needs a job, so
Or
he can
you've
play
got-
both
you've
Elladan
got-
and Elrohir.
But you've also
right?
got a couple of acting pairs that are actual. I mean, you've got the Phelps brothers from the Harry Potter films,
That's also true,
who are
but,
not redheads.
but they don't look elvish. Not
No.
They do not
But
look
the,
elvish at all.
the Iceman from X-Men and his brother, they're twins,
Yeah,
blonde,
see?
blue-eyed.
Yeah.
They
There's
would
lots
work
of
quite
real
well.
life twins that
Yes,
could be
yes.
Elladan and
Who
Elrohir.
actually also act.
Yes, indeed. Now, the enthusiasm that I really appreciate bouncing off of everybody in the Twitterverse is that the counterpoint argument is that the new TV show is just going to be nothing more than fan fiction because they only have sketches of a historical outline
But
in the
Aragorn
appendix.
is
But it's
the
not,
most deeply delved character
I would
in
say
all of those.
Yes, thank you.
He's-
That
he's-
ultimately, that's what I was just about to get to.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm being woman-splained now. There's a lot of woman-splaining happening on this show. Love it. I love you. I love this woman. No, she's great. No, but it's true that
Well, we'd be writing at the same time in a chat
we
room.
probably should be. We're like typing over each other in the chat. Okay. The thing is that I know in my heart that Professor Tolkien wanted more and more details to be put into the appendix. Yeah,
Because he kept tweaking.
Yeah.
He kept tweaking all his life. He kept tweaking. I mean, the books came out in the 50s, and he was still writing back history and more
Yep.
languages and more songs and more poetry about it. So, and doing more artwork for it. So he was always tweaking it. It was never finished in his eyes.
At a certain point, the publication of The Return of the King was significantly delayed. by Professor Tolkien himself, because he was earnestly working more and more and more material into the supplements that were going to be handed over to the publisher. And the publisher said, just finish the damn thing. Finish. We need a map. We need you to finish the map, and then we're going to publish this thing. And Tolkien was like, wait, there's more. So,
yes, there is.
And because he knew that they were not going to publish the Silmarillion, and he feared, and it was a very heartbreaking place for him to be, because that was his darling.
Yes.
And they would never publish it. So he thought, I'm going to compensate for them not publishing the Silmarillion.
By putting it all in the back end.
Yeah. Stuff. So my counter-argument to those fans who would give me the counter-argument that there's not enough material in the appendices.
There's 100 more plus pages back
There's
there.
so much. And if Professor Tolkien had his way, there would have been more, much more detail.
There would have been a 4th volume. There
would have
totally would have been a 4th volume.
Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
I can easily see that, a supplement.
Yeah.
I can easily see that.
Well,
Wow.
and
So no
We're
one,
on the same page there.
I don't think anyone can stand on the intellectual argument that there's not enough material in the books and in their license
It just comes back to having a good
to make a great
showrunner
show.
and good writers.
Oh yeah, the
It
showrunners.
always comes back to that. It comes
so-
back to that. And my feeling is that we're sort of standing where we were in like 1999, knowing that Peter Jackson was beginning work on this project and having to wait 2 years to see anything about it. And I remember being nervous. But after hearing Richard Taylor at the 2001 Comic-Con at the Torn panel, when he spoke for a couple minutes at the end of that panel,
He was excited.
I was like, okay, now I can be a cheerleader.
Right?
At that moment, I went from casual fan
Yeah.
to cheerleader for the project.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
I know it's going to take something like that.
Cliff, what about all of this breaking news? All of these news outlets reported on your tweet thread, but there was one that you were most excited about.
Oh, yes. Well,
And what is the significance of the dailymail.co.uk reporting on your Twitter thread last week?
the reason why this is exciting, look at, see, this screen shows you the news cycle that picked up our tweet thread. And all of a sudden, I found myself like feeling like I was the one single voice being amplified all across the news spectrum. And believe it or not, the London Daily Mail decided to give us a huge amount of coverage on this story 24 hours ahead of the royal wedding happening. That's phenomenal.
Wow.
It's
Wow, 'cause
phenomenal.
that was everywhere. Once you got to Sunday, man, or to Saturday, there wasn't a channel that wasn't showing it.
Yep.
In the middle of the night, there were channels showing all the lead up and everything like that.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that's
You're
nuts.
right. The fact is that in England, every reporter, all those hard-boiled Fleet Street reporters,
We're screaming their minds
We're-
off at the motorcade.
yes, and the London Daily Mail had dedicated all of their resources and then some to covering this huge, phenomenal royal wedding. And then I come along and rock the boat with some Lord of the Rings news, and then they shuffle off some of their reporters and research team to stop doing coverage on the royal wedding and talk about young Aragorn. #young Aragorn. That was mind-blowing to me that they would do that.
We need to get a story,
That was
a
mind-blowing.
really awesome story, compiling all of this up on our main website.
Well, you see, we've discovered that people don't read those. They don't interact. Social media has shifted the way that the audience
But
is
you
actually
post the story
digest
and then you
their
immediately
info.
hit it to Twitter. I mean, it's really easy to share it.
Yeah.
And to tweet it.
Yeah, that's true, but people don't interact with a single long read article.
I know the discuss page
it's-
doesn't get very busy.
Isn't it wacky?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
way these changes are coming over fandom and the way fandom is like absorbing and sharing information is changing.
It's still nice
a
to
lot.
have a permanent link to go back to, though.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. I'll give you that.
I'm just going to
I'll
keep
give you
pushing.
that. I'll give you that.
You know, I'm old school website person. You know, It's like-
Yeah, I love it. Now, hey, guys, we want you to come to theonering.net and join us at all of our social media platforms and
the
on our
chat
main
room.
site.
And the chat boards. I mean,
especially
demos. Yeah, because
Please
he's been doing his literary things, but I would imagine.
Tell-
Can you imagine Stephen with his lack of enthusiasm.
I love Steven. Can you tell the folks at home, Kathy, how easy it is to find their way to our message boards and how they can participate? I mean, it's free. It costs nothing.
Yeah, it is free. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, right up at the very top of the OneRing.net website it either says message boards or communications or community. I think it says community.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's message boards and there's a chat room. So
Yes.
both of them are under that.
So good.
And then, of course, our Facebook page is another great place.
And it is there on the message boards that we found this other piece of exciting discussion
That
from
happens too.
our friends were reiterating a news blast from the German website Der Herr der Ringe, the Lord of the Rings. Their website are the ones now reporting that the show is literally being driven to be what you'd call conclusive, or it's not the phrase. What's the phrase? You know?
Oh,
We're getting a call.
let's grab it.
It's Josh. Let me finish my sentence. I got it. Hi Josh.
We'll be with you in a second. He's got to finish his sentence.
The showrunners, in cooperation with Warner Brothers, are going to ask Weta to pull out of storage some of their original sets that have been preserved. They're not.
Because we know they have them all.
Isn't that nuts?
I know.
I mean, that is so nuts. That is so exciting. It means that they're not really going to divergently go
I've
way,
got my
way, way
passport
off.
ready. I've got my passport ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready to go to New Zealand in November.
Yeah, like
That's
seriously.
where I'm going anyway.
I love it.
Before any of this, I was already going.
I wish I could join you, but I don't happen to have $1,200 in my pocket right now to buy a ticket to New Zealand. But I would love to join you.
All right.
Huh?
Besides
Lucky
the
girl.
community and message boards, we also have a section that's run by Josh here, don't we?
Yes, he does the collecting the precious. Can you hear us, Josh?
Hi, Josh. Do you hear
What's
us?
up, guys?
Hey, how are you, man?
Do we have
I'm
to get
good. How
closer
are you
to that?
guys?
Well, no. His sound is going to be patched through right here to. Yeah, everybody can see you and hear you now, Josh.
Oh, you can see me and hear me this time? Okay, good.
Yes.
So, I promise. I think I got the technical stuff figured out. Yeah, I just wanted to call in and kind of, talk about the club real quick and obviously watching the show and listening to all the conversation on young Aragorn. So it's been kind of a good night.
I'm sorry. Please say that again, Josh.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm making sure you can hear me decent this time.
Yes, I can hear you just fine. However, we were distracted by a message that was coming through on the chat. But
Oh, no, you're fine.
by the way,
Just
this is
wanted
the guy. I want to
wanted
tell
to
the
talk
audience at
quick about
home that this is Josh Long,
Yeah.
who is one of our staff members with the OneRing.net, who runs the Collectibles and does
Collecting the precious.
the Collecting the Precious series with some great information about all the
He's going to have to call back.
the really, really awesome
please.
collectibles. That he's the most massive collector of all, and this guy, oh my gosh, he's amazing.
All right, let's get an update.
Okay.
What's the update, Josh?
Okay, so just kind of want to give an update because I know last time there was obviously some issue talking about some things. So we're up to 420 members, which is pretty good considering we haven't been, doing this too terribly long. So I'm pretty proud about that. Wanted to talk about, I got 3 members that have been really super active, so I want to give them a shout out. I got Mad Eye Gamgee, who's been posting a ton of stuff. Los Necos, Andy Bird UK, and Outer Heaven. If you check out our club, and you can get to it from the top of our homepage, and it takes you directly to it to sign up, you can see some of the stuff they're posting. They've got, Andy Bird's got a vinyl copy of The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. It's a small record, and I'll be honest with you, when it comes to records and stuff, that's probably a little bit before my time, so I'm not always real sure on those.
Oh wow! So this is stuff that's being posted on our community on Gemmer, right?
Yes, correct.
Wow, so cool.
Yeah, they've been really great to deal with because they have the same passion for collecting that we do as fans of Middle Earth, and they have obviously all kinds of stuff, but they're really passionate about Middle Earth. They're wanting to make sure everybody that watches this show, everybody that checks out Torn and everything, has a chance to show off their collections, and that was one of the things I was going to talk about real quick last week. Was I really want everybody to jump in and join this and be a part of Collecting the Precious. I want you, Cliff, to share what you've got. Kathy, I want you to share what you've got. I want Justin to share what he's got. I want everybody to share. Collecting the Precious is not just my face talking about stuff all the time. I want you guys to do it. And Gemmer gives us the chance. They're passionate about it. We're passionate about it. And it's been an absolute blast getting this going. And I really want to just encourage everybody that's watching the show right now to get on this and share your stuff. We want to see what you've got. I think the Middle Earth community is a super, super passionate group of folks, and I really want them to share their stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
All my statues.
For all of us who are coming to this conversation for the first time, Josh, it is so helpful to remind everyone that signing up to be part of our message boards, which is a big meat and potatoes conversation place, is free and it's effortless.
Yes.
It takes no time at all. And to even be part of Gemmer is free. And you can take no time at all, and you're instantly able to have a private, not private, but a rather distinct arena just for your Tolkien collectibles, so you can share, bounce with a lot of other people, and share your collection and celebrate what you've got as a collector, and celebrate that feeling of, well, I've got this one of a kind, and it's a juicy thing.
I still
love
have
that
boxes
stuff.
and boxes
I love
of
that
stuff. I've got to pull out one of these days and say, look what I got.
Look at this.
10 years ago from Germany.
Yeah.
Isn't this amazing?
Now,
this
Josh,
post from Los Necos.
They're showing us this picture from Los Necos, our love for everything Middle Earth. Wow, he's actually wearing a Sauron helmet. That's
his picture.
Serious.
He's got him and the other person. They're wearing those helmets and they got all that stuff. It's a really neat picture. That's been one of my favorites. And like I said, when you scroll through and you see like Mad Eye Gamgee with all the stuff that he's been sharing, him and his significant other, they've got a ton of stuff. They have one piece from, it was speaking of Comic-Con earlier, it was a Comic-Con exclusive from Sideshow, and that thing is super hard to get, and it's a really beautiful piece of Sam carrying Frodo, obviously from into Return of the King, and it just seeing that kind of stuff is really cool because
I got that.
I get to see my collection all the time, and so I love seeing everybody else's, and that's to me something that's really important is seeing other people's stuff.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. That Kathy, you're just showing that Gandalf on Shadowfax.
I have that statue. Yes.
That's from Sideshow Collectibles from how long ago? Because that's a beautiful thing.
Oh gosh, that's the Gandalf on Shadowfax was Return of the King-ish, so 2003, 2004, something
somewhere
like that.
Somewhere in that line, yeah.
14 years old.
Because it probably would have been after the movie came out.
It is out of print.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, my cats love it as a scratching post. They walk past it and let the horse's hooves scratch their
You really? You let?
They don't scratch. I can't help them. I mean, they get up there and they're like going, oh, and they just sort of, if I'm not going to pet them, they let Shadowfax pet them.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That is so funny.
And my cat's name is Shadow. She's black.
Oh,
She's a black
cute.
kitty. Yes.
That's cute.
So Shadow and Shadowfax, it's kind of just a thing.
Well, how about that, Josh? I really love having you back on. I love having you back on the air, Josh. And
you'll be in San Diego, yes?
Yes.
Josh?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
You're going to be in San Diego?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Got my press pass and everything taken care of, and hotel booked and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm already internally counting down the days until I count them down to Facebook and annoy everybody with my countdown. So.
Well, my countdown includes a cruise for 2 nights on the Norwegian Bliss, a 7-day trip to Slovenia, a 14-day Alaskan cruise tour. Then I come home, get to do my laundry, and go right down to San Diego.
Oh, that's exciting.
So that's my countdown.
That's quite exciting.
Yeah. Life of a travel agent. Okay.
Yes. Final thoughts from you, Josh, before we let you go.
I know we're gonna do probably a little bit of talking next week. I think Justin and I kind of have. I'm gonna steal a little bit more time from you because we have something in the works with Gemmer, and I think everybody's gonna like what we have. A little contest that we have cooking up. I'll tease that.
Oh, good.
And I think people are gonna love the prices. And I think it's gonna help really kind of boost interest. So we're looking forward to launching that I think the plan is to launch it next Tuesday with the show, so to kind of get it going on the 29th. So that's kind of the next step for us and to kind of promote things.
That's excellent, Josh. That's super cool stuff.
Okay. So we're going to move on to, because we haven't gotten to past.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Josh, and we will see you.
Thanks,
I know
guys.
next week you'll be on the show again, stealing some time, and obviously in San Diego, because San Diego rocks.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be amazing to see you, and I can't believe time is flying as quickly as it is. Josh Long, we thank you for being here on our show, Mr. Man, and we'll catch up
Thanks,
with you
guys.
more.
See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Okay, here we go. Boom. Now, talking about this news, and I know that the Facebook.
This is actually a nice point.
Yes, but the time might be delayed in the stream, and the
Yeah.
people on Facebook might be watching a bit of a delay. So I'm trying to look here.
Oh, to see what's live?
Yes, I'm trying to see what's live. And
Let's go through this this dream list that Kathy put together
yes.
on screen right there.
Now, thank you for putting this up, Justin. I'm glad you made this graphic.
The only one missing is Robert.
We're open.
Wolf.
Come on in. Don't be shy. This is really, really cool, and I'm glad that you took the time to put this together, Justin.
He's gonna do something. Okay.
Well, the
Yeah,
here it is.
showrunners. Now we know that the guys from Game of Thrones aren't available because they're doing a Star Wars TV series of some sort. So that we know that they've already lined up their next job as soon as Game of Thrones wraps. So D.B. Weiss and Benioff. Well, I suppose they could. They're doing theatrical.
John Favreau is doing Star Wars TV.
Oh, they're doing a theatrical. Okay.
That's right. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are going to jump into
Theatrical.
from television to theatrical. That's
wow,
right.
that is impressive.
They're going to make a theatrical release going into that world. I found all the chatters here on YouTube. Hello, all the folks on YouTube. I'm glad to be with you live. And I can see the chatters also. Yeah, I got it here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to
is
see
great.
the top because I want to see the list of people. Because I'm loving the fact that you put Joe Straczynski up there because he's kind of awesome.
Mr. Straczynski, yes.
Babylon 5. Well, it was the first show with a full arc for 5 years,
Yes.
and he wrote 95% of the scripts.
That's a lot.
Yes, he's kind of
Wow.
crazy. And believe it or
But
not,
awesome.
there is a slight Lord of the Rings theme. You can almost sort of place some of the characters and put them right into Lord of the Rings. So he has just enough fan base that he kind of knows
Yes.
who is the wizard, who is the warrior, who is the elves.
Michael J. Straczynski has been through.
J. Michael.
I meant J. Michael. Sorry, Mr. Straczynski has been through hell and back with Babylon 5.
Oh, yeah.
But that show found its support.
It's going on Amazon.
It is.
On Prime, Amazon Prime. He just
No
tweeted
way.
it today.
Yes, he did.
He
He
just
did.
tweeted it today.
That's going to be huge.
Yes, it is.
Also, he's been talking to his fan base about high res. They're going to do an up res. They're going to up res
Yes.
old standard definition.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is what we need to do to our documentary.
Because
our
when-
documentary Ringers
yeah.
needs to be up resed to high def so we can release it again.
Because when he was filming, he was trying to think of what the future technology would look like.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be as forward-thinking as he could
Yes.
with what was available. And he's one of those kind of showrunners who was always on budget. And they never had overtime. So everyone knew if they came in that they would be leaving the end of the day, that there wouldn't be overtime.
Yes.
And every episode came in on budget.
Hi.
So he has a great reputation
He
for
does.
that.
Before we go any further on the list, I have to say that as soon as we started listing names, there was one name that was an absolute universal no.
Sorry, Guillermo. I didn't
No,
mean to.
that wasn't it.
Oh, was it?
He is a toxic name in fandom. No one wants him near this. And in fact, people were
Michael
already
Bay.
claiming they had nightmares considering that
Ooh.
Joss Whedon would be even
Oh
remotely
gosh, Joss
connected
Whedon.
to this.
I thought you were going to say Brett Ratner.
Joss Whedon is on the same level right
Is
now
he really?
Yeah.
in the fandom.
Yeah. A lot
So
of
he's the first one off the list.
Yes, fandom. Let's take a look at our board, please, of all
Okay.
possible showrunners. Yes.
Okay, so Joss is off
All
the
right, we
list.
take Joss Whedon
Well,
off the list.
actually, you know what? what the fans want and what Amazon is going to hire aren't necessarily the same thing. Just saying.
As fans, we're telling them, don't hire Joss Whedon. Don't even talk to him.
Just because he kills off half of his characters right in the middle of
And he's a
scene.
toxic... he has a toxic name in the fandom right now.
Yes, Joss Whedon is under the glare of a lot of scrutiny, for his bad behavior and other behaviors that Brett Ratner has been notorious for over the years. So, yeah.
One of the things that I like about J. Michael Straczynski, before we move on, is he wrote Thor for Marvel, and he also did Sense8. That's his most recent
Yes, he
show.
did Sense8, yes.
So he knows how to do Thor,
Yeah.
bringing some of that mythology that Tolkien based his stories on.
Yeah, well, and he does back and forth with comics. In fact, his 9/11, I think he was doing Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, when 9/11 happened, and his comic is one of the 2 collectible comics from 9/11. There's only 2 of them.
Wow. Yeah.
His about Spider-Man, about basically, I'm not the hero, they are.
Yes, that's right. I remember those. I remember
Yeah,
those
it was a
publications.
black cover, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he did that. He also did a really wonderful film with Angelina Jolie about her child being abducted. And it was a true life story from the LA Times, because he used to be a newspaper
That was
writer.
Changeling.
Changeling.
Yes, that film is Changeling, yes.
So in other words,
Yes.
he's got the TV, the movie cred, he's got both.
Yes.
The comics, the books, kind of everything.
Okay. Yes.
I do like Jay Straczynski.
I do. We do. And I'm with you. I'm 100%.
Yes, yeah.
100%.
Babylon 5 is one of those shows that I will rewatch every couple of years, watch the whole series.
Now you've already
we're-
said that the Thrones guys are out of commission. They're
Yes,
not doing
Yeah,
anything.
because
we-
if they're going to be doing 3 movies, they're gone for a while.
Yep.
So
Benioff
the next
Jose
one,
Molina, down
and
here
Weiss.
at the bottom, Jose Molina. He's one of the 2 people, him and Robert Hewitt Wolf, both posted on Twitter the day the Amazon story broke that they wanted in the room.
They did. There were a lot of really big
Yeah.
name showrunners
Yeah.
who tweeted that day. Please let us have a meeting.
who is Jose
Please let us have a
Molina?
meeting.
Because it looks like he's done some fan favorites.
Yeah. Him and Javier Grigio Marxwatch
Yeah.
are the 2 Puerto Ricans in the room in Hollywood.
Yes.
And they did Grimm, Agent Carter, and the Vampire Diaries.
Well, he did. Yes.
Yes, he did.
He's worked on a lot
And
of cool
and
things.
according to many movie blogs, he is one of the most valuable creative writers in Hollywood, and he
'cause they
needs
do
to
a,
show run.
He and Javi do a blog about how to be showrunners, how to be. So they do
Yeah.
it, and they do it on a professional level, and they do discussions when they appear at Comic-Con. It's not a fan thing; it is a how to get into the industry. They're completely open and
Yes.
transparent about getting new writers into the industry.
And
It's-
that's
Do you
very
think
helpful.
Jose Molina would be open to hiring young, first-time writers into a Lord of the Rings series?
and also being
Perhaps.
diverse, male and female, different races, because
Yeah.
it's the way Hollywood is moving, and so you sort of want a showrunner that's going to move in that direction.
We have more diversity in the Shadow of War and in the Middle-earth games than we do in actual adaptations of
Yeah,
Middle-earth stories.
Lake Town
So
was
we'll
the
be
one
looking-
time
we'll
where
be looking for that.
we finally got some diversity in Lake Town
Right.
because it made sense being a crossroads.
It does, and yes, indeed.
Now
we've
let's
got,
talk-
we've got a call live on the hotline. Hey, you've just called the OneRing.net. You're live on the air. Where are you calling from?
San Jose, California.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again one more time.
San Jose, California.
Hey, hello, San Jose. What's your name? What's up?
My name's Brennan. I've called in a few times before.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Oh,
Oh,
he's on
yes.
Reddit?
Yeah.
It's my
Hey,
name.
how are you doing, buddy? We're having a hard time hearing you, so I'm going to try to turn the volume up on my phone.
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear. Sorry, guys. What? Sorry, one more time, my friend. What was it you were saying?
I think my connection is bad.
No, it sounds a little bit better now. It's okay. I'm just trying to get you on the
Okay.
show so that everybody can hear you.
Well, I was thinking about who could play Aragorn,
Oh, who's going to play Aragorn?
and as soon as you said Timothy Chalamet, I thought that's a good choice.
Yep. I think Timothy Chalamet could
could
play
he-
a Aragorn up to a certain age bracket, and then if they move, like another decade or 2 decades forward in time, then they might find another actor to play him at another age bracket as they go forward.
Yeah, because they've got 80
one
years
of the
to come.
things that's always interested me is I never really care too much about who the actors are. I care about who the directors, who the writers,
The directors and the
who the
writers.
showrunners are.
Yes, I agree.
Because that gives you a better sense of how good it might be. So, but I'm interested in seeing who they hire. And
Who's his choice?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the whole idea of Aragorn
Yeah.
as our main character.
Yeah. Right? I actually, we're all with you. A lot of us are with you that this is an excellent, probably one of the smarter moves that they could make to have this character be an entry point for the show.
Who was his choice?
Yeah,
And his choice was Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, no, for showrunner.
Oh, for a showrunner. Yeah, who would be your choice for a showrunner, man?
My choice?
Yeah.
That's tricky. Well, I know it's kind of a strange choice, but I think Stephen Daldry would be interesting.
Say again?
Stephen Daldry.
And what does Stephen Daldry, did you say?
Yeah, he does The Crown.
Oh,
Is the show that he does.
he's the guy who made The Crown for Netflix. All
Yeah,
right.
and he directed The Hours, Billy Elliot, and
That's right.
there's another one.
He did.
I can't remember, but I think that he did a good job with The Crown,
Yeah.
and I think that he would be an interesting choice. There's rumors that he might direct the Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff.
Oh, hey,
Sure.
that's intriguing. I
And
like
he
that.
also might do a live-action movie of the musical Wicked.
Oh, wicked.
So he's kind of busy right now.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it'd be interesting
Very busy. You know what?
if he could step into Lord of the Rings.
I like that. I love that. Yeah, you're down for Timothy Chalamet, and I'm down for that because he looks the part, and I'm sure if we're gonna, have him be shown if Aragorn is going to be shown as Estelle at that really young age, then yeah, that's a great place to start. And thank you for calling in, brother. You're welcome to come and join us live on the show anytime you want. All right, yeah, we're gonna hang up and go on with the show. Thanks again.
Now, Kathy, what do you think about Outlander's Ronald Moore?
Ronald,
Talk about Ronald Moore.
Yeah.
Well, this
Battlestar
guy.
Galactica was fabulous, but I find him arrogant.
Really?
Aside from that, he is brilliant. I just find him arrogant, but that's just a personal.
We're good.
We got Outlander news today.
Yes, we did get
Oh,
Outlander news today.
Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
I'm not an Outlander fan, so I can't keep up with you guys on this.
Okay, it's not about Outlander. It's the fact that Billy Boyd got cast.
Oh, that's great. Hello. Really? Billy Boyd got cast in
Billy
the show?
Boyd is in.
He's in
Outlander.
Ireland right now filming.
They actually, the Outlander's Instagram announced 5 different people, but Billy was the first one.
Wow, so that's why Billy all of a sudden got busy.
Yeah.
That's such good news.
That is awesome news.
Such awesome news.
Yeah. Billy is like the nicest person you guys could ever meet and
That's
work
true.
with. So
Who's the
we're
other
always happy.
Tolkien connection with Outlander?
Say that again?
Who's the other Tolkien connection with Outlander?
Wouldn't that be
Graham McTavish.
Dwalin?
Dwalin the dwarf.
Played by Graham McTavish, yes.
And
Okay.
Peregrine Took.
Now, let's knock out some more of these showrunners off this graphic, Justin, because
So
we're running out of time on the show.
I think Ronald's too busy for this. Don't you think?
If he's still working an active TV show, then yeah, he's. I mean, as a showrunner, that's a lot because he's running the writers' room. They're doing casting decisions, making the big production decisions. I mean, they have other producers, But if they're running the show, they're really running the show.
And the other thing is
Indeed.
Ronald Moore just sold a sci-fi show to Apple, who's starting to make TV shows. So Ronald Moore is officially busy for the next few years.
He is.
He's out.
Super, super busy. Now, you know what? Across the top tier, and I want to respond to some of the YouTube
Adam
chatters.
and Ed.
A couple of folks in the YouTube chat actually said if they're going to reuse, according to what the German website has said, if they're going to reuse some of those amazing physical sets that have been preserved, and if they're really going to keep the movie that's the word I was looking for, cohesion.
Cohesive.
If they're going to keep a cohesive design look, and they're really going to bring it back towards that familiar Middle-earth, then some of the people in YouTube chat were like, why don't they just go ahead and hire Peter already?
Or Andy.
Or Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens. So I want to take a look at the top tier and take them off the list, because we need to take Peter off the list. Because
Let's talk about Adam
this
Horowitz and Ed Kitsis first.
I'm
Ed
sorry.
Kitsis.
Hey, guys, we've got another customer over here that you might not have seen. Hello, bar staff. I'm sorry. Just in case you didn't see, we have another guest who's just arrived.
And
Sorry.
and you
Anyways,
have a show.
The reason why Peter Jackson and Fran and Philippa might be excellent for the job, but they might also be really bad for the job,
Yes.
is because of overkill, overdone, overworked.
Yes.
They've
But
already done all that.
let's bring
in
it back to
Middle-earth.
Once Upon a Time. There hasn't been a lot of positive reaction to Once, has there?
I don't know. I stopped watching it 2 seasons ago. It got really complicated with the amount of different fairy tales they were bringing in, and they weren't all Disney. So after a while, it kind of...
Well,
it got-
according to Twitter, the reaction that we got from Twitter for the Once Upon a Time showrunners is that they just created too many characters, and then they threw away their storylines, and characters forgot other
Yeah,
characters.
they got lost.
And
They got lost. And you know, and they came from Lost. So they know what a complicated storyline is supposed to be like,
That's
but
true.
they kind of got lost in their...
So between Lost and Once Upon a Time, do we want these guys touching the giant cast
No,
of
no.
Lord
we
of the
want
Rings?
Javier Grillo Markswatch or Jose Molina. Those would be my choices, although Javi is working on Dark Crystal.
So you're taking the
Oh,
Once
yeah.
Upon a Time guys off the list, right?
Yeah.
All
Michael
right.
Green, Logan.
All right.
Adam Horowitz and Ed Kitsis.
Eureka and Hellboy. Okay, Andrew Crosby. That is a very, very promising thing right there.
What
Andrew
what is
Crosby?
Eureka? What is Eureka?
Oh my God, Eureka was a town where geniuses all lived. The entire town was geniuses, and they were always trying not to blow up the world.
Wasn't this a series on Sci-Fi Channel?
Oh, yes. It was so much fun. It was
Yeah.
the fun. I mean, it was so great to come on. It came on about 2 seasons after Battlestar Galactica, which was beautiful and wonderful, but dark.
Yeah.
And Eureka was the exact polar opposite and was upbeat, and it was so much fun.
So, see, now I've missed out. I didn't watch Grimm. I didn't watch Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
I
you're-
didn't watch Eureka.
See,
I've missed out on all of that
when
programming.
I go to Comic-Con, I go to all
of
of
it.
the panels about the new shows so I
Yeah.
can weed out what I'm not going to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can weed out what's really worth the time and...
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
The
Yeah.
thing that's interesting about Andrew Crosby is that he just wrote the new Hellboy, the new
he?
version with
Oh.
David, with the dad bod himself from Stranger Things.
I don't want to talk about the new version of Hellboy because they screwed Guillermo del Toro. They screwed him out of his job, out of his creation. They refused to let GDT do his Hellboy movie, and then they brought in a whole bunch of other people to scrap everything and redo it and make a whole new Hellboy without the same cast
I've heard
or crew or
I've heard
anybody.
the new script is amazing for the new Hellboy, and the creator of Hellboy is on board, deeper and more excited
That's
than
Grant
Guillermo's
Morrison.
movie.
Isn't Grant Morrison?
No, that is who did Hellboy?
Okay, not the Scottish guy.
No, it's another guy. The name's blanking. But
Okay.
between
Oh,
Eureka,
wait, I know his name. The guy who wrote the original Hellboy and worked with
Mike Mignola.
he
Mike
wrote the-
Mignola. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the author and the
So
creator
Mike
of the comic
Mignola is
book.
fully on board with what
So he's
Andrew
on board.
Crosby has done with his Hellboy. He's really excited about this new movie.
Okay.
So between Eureka and
Sorry.
Hellboy? Is he? We're keeping him on the list, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm keeping him on the list.
Maybe, but my fan loyalty to Guillermo del Toro is like so strong. I'm
you've
like,
got some women writers down there on the bottom line. Bring up the picture again, because there's a couple of women writers on there that I'm like, yay,
Yes.
he put a bunch of women on there.
So talk about the sisters.
Julie and Shauna Benson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I have not watched the 100, but I know I have a lot of friends who are deeply, deeply involved in it, and it's got a very strong fan base.
I've got a lot of friends who swear by that show.
Yeah.
They
What about
do.
what's Emma Approved?
Yeah.
Is that a show?
Yeah, Emma Approved is a show. It's been going on for at least 3 years, and it's a modern retelling of Emma.
Oh, Emma, the Austen.
Yes.
Jane
Oh,
Austen's
the
Emma.
Jane Austen Emma. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
Wowzer.
So she's very familiar with
Well,
adapting
then it must be on the list because
classic.
there's so many networks and cable outlets and streaming services that it's really hard to keep track of all the new product that's out there, this creativity.
That's a lot.
It's because so if it's on Hulu, if it's on Amazon, you wouldn't know it
Wow.
necessarily.
Wow,
thing-
that's a
Because
lot.
I love me some good Austen.
The thing about the sisters though is that the only show the only big show that they've done is the 100, and I don't know if that qualifies them to be the showrunners of the overall series.
We'll see. Yeah, you're right, because you need a showrunner, but you need a quality staff room. I mean, if you're going to be doing a series, and if you're going to have, say, the what is it, young Aragorn, but then branching off into other storylines, you're going to need a big staff writing room.
Now, Cliff,
But the showrunners, correct me if I'm wrong, the showrunners are responsible
in their
for
head.
cultivating those writers
Yeah.
and hiring that team of people.
Yes, exactly.
So it does start with
And they-
someone at that command
and
position
they
to
have
bring in the
to-
right people.
And they're the ones that formulate what the storyline, the overall puzzle.
Yeah.
And then they give off the puzzle pieces to
Yes.
the staff writers.
That's what Kevin Feige does. Feige,
yeah.
Kevin Feige is
With Marvel, it's a much bigger
Indeed.
example. But I know
Um,
with like on Lost, they had about 6 or 7 different staff writers, and so what they did is they started splitting up characters to different writers.
yes.
So
Yes.
because obviously a lot of those stories dealt with backstories on a specific character, so that writer got that character story.
Yeah. Now
And that's how they
that's
kept
one of the
that.
smartest things to do.
Yeah.
And Justin, I know your voice is still back there in the control room, but don't you guys all agree that this big Lord of the Rings series needs a centralized person
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
to operate as a Kevin Feige in that capacity?
There's a reason why
Now-
I've been
Really?
doing showrunners. I've been talking about it and writing stories about it for
Yeah.
about 8 months now
Yeah,
since the
yeah,
story
totally.
first
Yeah,
broke.
yeah.
now, Cliff,
Yeah.
what did Andy Serkis recently say about being involved in Lord of the Rings?
Andy Serkis was asked,
Oh,
"Would
boy.
you like to be involved in the new Amazon Lord of the Rings
He's
show?"
got Mowgli coming out. He is
And-
so happy actually making movies.
It's so funny. Let's read this quote out loud. And I can hear Andy's voice because I know the way he talks.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows. But I've interviewed him so many times, and this is the sound of exasperated Andy Serkis. And he doesn't usually sound like this. When prompted by a reporter if he wants to be involved creatively or as a motion capture performer with Gollum, he said, "Oh boy, listen. I mean, I don't think so." And if I was anyone making those, they're obviously going to want to start fresh and create something brand new. And that's how it should be. That's what you do with great classic pieces of work, like
The Jungle
the
Book.
Jungle Book.
He's talking about his Mowgli, isn't he?
Of course, he's
I'm
talking
so
about
proud
his
of it.
new film Mowgli, which was pushed off the calendar in production
Yeah.
to not compete in the marketplace with
With the other-
Disney's
other
huge
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book from 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And Andy concludes his quote by saying, "It bears repetition and it bears reinterpretation. And I think it needs a fresh pair of ears and eyes, and I'm sure that's the way they'll go." All right.
And what's interesting about that is Sean Astin had something similar to say, not about being involved or not being involved, but what he said about the subject matter is it definitely was going to be remade. He's like, there's too much material.
Yeah.
It's too brilliant
Yeah.
not to be remade and not reinterpreted. And So at least the guys involved, they recognize. He goes, I've always known there was going to be a remake.
Yeah.
So Cliff and Kathy, would you say the Andy Serkis quote just
He's out.
X's him
Yeah,
out?
I think he's really happy doing his own projects. I mean, now that he's got his own production company, I think he's really happy doing that.
Justin, why haven't you put an X out over Peter Jackson and Fran and Philippa?
Why would you do that?
I've already mentioned that. I talked about that for 3 minutes already.
Say goodbye to Fran and Peter. And Philippa.
Because they
killing me.
They probably don't want to be involved themselves, unless it was in some
Brian Fuller. I love Brian
Fuller. Right. Yeah, we'll get to Brian Fuller in just a second, but allow me to finish my thought. I think that Fran and Philippa and Peter are just burnt out, and they want to go and do other things like Mortal Engines.
And if it's going to be a trilogy, then they're gonna.
I don't
busy.
agree. I'm gonna keep Fran and Philippa on the list, but I agree with you on Peter. I think he wants to do a bunch of movies. He owes Spielberg a Tintin movie.
Yeah.
He's gonna do the Mortal Engines with his team.
Yes.
I think
he's going to do his World War I film about New Zealand's.
The Anzacs.
Oh yeah, and he's got the World War I documentary. So.
Yes.
But I want to leave Philippa and Fran on because I think their hearts are still in Middle Earth.
And if nothing else, I think Philippa is too big of a resource not to be involved, at least on an advisory capacity. She is such a great resource.
Let me ask you this.
All
do
right.
you think Fran and Philippa should be, do you think it's important for those two women to show run the most expensive, the biggest show in television history? Do you think that sends a message if they give this show, the most expensive in history, to a couple women?
I'm down. I would say yes. I'm down to have them involved creatively, but I
don't know if I would have them being a showrunner.
No, they work in film.
And the reason is because
they've never worked in television before.
Yeah, they've never worked in television before. It's a skill set because of the budget and I know that the cable networks do it differently than television, where you actually are filming every single week for that week.
Yes.
So I realize that, but TV requires the writer to write the direction.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're telling the actors what they're doing because the directors just don't have the time to do what movie directors do, which is make all the stage direction.
Yes.
So coming from
you don't think they have the skill set to do a fast-paced television production?
Nope.
Well, you know what? I might not be the ultimate arbiter of this, but I would venture that if you had your professional instinct writing novels and you were like John Irving, you were writing the great American novel, you wouldn't cut yourself into a job writing a 2,000-word newspaper column as a writer. You would allow yourself to work in the medium that you work best at.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe my instincts are telling me the wrong thing. It's happened before, God knows.
But Brian Fuller was on that list.
Brian Fuller is on the list there.
And I know you only put Hannibal, but I mean, hello, Pushing Up Daisies.
Brian Fuller has worked with
Daisies.
He's worked with our Lee Pace.
Yes, he
and
has.
The show was called Pushing Daisies.
And he works
with
music.
There was no up in the title.
And he oh, did I say up?
You said Pushing Up Daisies? I like that, though. That's a different show.
But yes, but he worked with the music. I mean, when
he's good.
Being
he's
able to
smart.
A visual. He has such a unique visual eye.
Yes.
And the fact that he works with the music, an idea of a notion of a score with how he works is kind of awesome.
He's my favorite, but he
is your favorite.
He was on Star Trek and then he left Star Trek Discovery.
You mean Star Trek Discovery on CBS All Access?
That's right.
Which means you can't watch it unless you pay for it.
He has a reputation in Hollywood, but I think someone needs to be that strong to do this show. They have to be able to stand up and for their creative vision on this show. This can't be a yes man.
This could be Justin's dream scenario. Here comes Philippa and Fran as executive producers to oversee, and they pull in Brian Fuller
Yep.
as the showrunner. Is that what Justin wants? Yeah, he's going rock
and
on.
they hire Robert Sheehan as the young Aragorn with Timothy
Oh, boy.
as the Estelle version. And
That's so funny.
All right, who else we got on this list? We're running out
Okay.
of time, but we've got Michael Green,
Michael Green
who wrote Logan.
He wrote Logan for James Mangold.
And he also wrote Blade Runner 2049. So this
Okay.
man
He's amazing,
knows how
by
to
the way.
take existing, well-liked, fanboy-specific
Exactly.
properties
Yeah.
and do them right.
Bring believability and real stuff, like real
And
meat and potatoes to them.
respect the values that the
Yeah.
originals
Yeah.
brought to fandom. And I think his skill set is really important for the
I'll
Lord of
agree
the
with you on
Rings. I think it's really.
and then we've got 2 more women on this list.
Yes, I love Christine Boylan.
She's Punisher and Constantine. So that gives her also cred on adapting existing comics.
Now, Cliff, we've talked about this. That this show, Tolkien is a dark story.
Yes.
And, and it needs the eye of what Peter Jackson was, which is basically a horror director. And I think she has the sensibilities, having worked on The Punisher and Constantine, the Gates of Hell itself. I think she's a great person to just give this
and
show.
there's going to be a lot of tension. I mean, the whole thing about Aragorn is not only, he's in hiding. So if you start young Aragorn with the flight of his mother, because wouldn't that be awesome? The flight of his mother to Rivendell.
You might.
And then jump forward.
They might begin even before Aragorn is born, because we'll learn something about Arathorn and
that would be nice.
and what's going on with Arathorn, and why all of a sudden his
and
death.
why the secrecy.
Why his death matters to the point where Gilraen is forced to do what she does.
Yeah.
And because there's a whole backdrop of.
Yeah, you have to have that. You'd have to have that to introduce why the peril he's in, and why the hiding, and why the name changes.
And
none of that makes sense if you don't see the peril firsthand.
The dissolution of Arnor. Lots of Witch King stuff. So maybe.
Dark.
It's very dark. And the
evil.
last person on our list is real quick, Kristen Rydell, who did 12 Monkeys on Sci-Fi Channel. It was amazing.
Yes.
It messed with
And
timelines
Blacklist,
a lot.
Yeah, Kristen Rydell.
And Blacklist is one of the best shows on TV on NBC, and it is carried.
If he gets to write for James Spader, hello.
Oh, anybody who can write dialogue for James Spader, that's a
But
fantastic
the
job.
Blacklist-
James Spader could read
That's
the
a great
phone
job.
book, and it would be brilliant.
The Blacklist is a well-written show, and it has a lot of storylines that you don't think are connected, but somehow every week she finds a way to connect them, and I think she
Yes.
needs to be on this list.
Yeah.
She deserves a shot at
Okay, so this
showrunning.
bottom row is staying, and
Yeah.
so we got rid of about half of the names. That's fine.
I'm
good with
actually
that.
more stoked about Christine Boylan when
Yeah.
I stop and think about how she took care of one of my favorite characters from the DC universe,
Yeah.
which is
Constantine.
John Constantine.
Yeah.
He is the DC straight analogy to a master of the mystic arts. He is that version of Doctor Strange in the DC universe, although very different, much more ghoulish and gritty and violent, and sometimes
And not Keanu Reeves at all.
bitterly dark. Bitterly, there's some ugliness in Hellblazer and Constantine that Doctor Strange doesn't even touch on.
DC is so much darker.
It is generally, yeah, but he's our resident magician.
Hence, Deadpool's comment. Are you
Yes.
sure you're not from the DC universe?
That was a good joke.
That was a good joke.
But to see so many female creatives on top of a show like Punisher, Constantine,
Yeah.
and The 100, and to see female creatives being able to crank out that stuff like Kristen working on Blacklist, it is, as Gandalf would say, that is an encouraging thought.
Yes, it is.
It is such an encouraging
I would
thought.
love to see
I would
either
too.
a female showrunner
I
or
would too.
executive producer. I would love to see
Yes.
a nice mix
No.
in the
Just
cast.
not
I don't
Fran
want
and
all. I
Philippa.
don't want all the fans to come back at me and say, "Why are you hating on Fran and Philippa?" I'm not. I'm just assuming that A, they would rather keep their discipline and their professional focus on what they do, which is motion
Movies.
pictures, not TV, And I'm just assuming that Middle-earth fatigue is rather real
because
for them.
Peter talked
really
about it a
real
lot.
fatigue.
After the first film, he talked about that for a lot. I mean, he sort of figured Hobbit would be down the line.
Yeah.
But once they hired Guillermo del Toro, he was fine with it, and we were all ready to see a different view of Middle Earth when Guillermo came on. And then, of course, we all went into mourning of that version of The Hobbit. So
well, it has been quite a week of news, okay? We're going to recap super briefly everything that we've covered since last Wednesday, okay? TheOneRing.net broke the news around the world that Amazon's super expensive, hyperactively expensive TV show.
$500 million, no big deal.
A show that neutered a whole bunch of other shows that they had in development. I mean, the F. Scott Fitzgerald thing that Amazon had been working on and was so keen on doing it, all that thrown out the window, all that stuff. So it is to the detriment of other producers and other shows that they've been bumped off the production schedule, but Amazon has...
They've got like a few years to get
2
this...
years.
To get
Right.
this, right, to get this, to at least get it started.
Bingo. They have to contractually get it going. So we're getting all this exciting news. TheOneRing.net brought you the news first that the opening season of Amazon's show is going to be based around young Aragorn. And we took a little bit of a deep dive in that Twitter thread. There it is, all about the amazing things that they can mine out of the appendices in the story. And then we find out even more news from the German Herr der Ringe website that there's rumors, really strong indications that they're going to bring off the shelf all these old sets, and they're going to keep weapons, armor, costumes, architecture, and visual cultural
now,
elements
you do know that they were,
same as the Peter Jackson films.
Because they're also still building an actual museum, a moving pictures, a movie museum down there. So some of that was going to come out for the museum anyway. But to be able to take some of the big things, the big stuff,
Big news.
Metaseld.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to run around Metaseld.
I would do. I love it.
Open the door.
Yes.
Sorry.
And
We're geeking out.
Our final bit of news is that we have heard that a lot of the biggest showrunners from the most successful sci-fi and fantasy television are throwing their hats in the ring, so to speak. And we're waiting for official announcements.
Amazon, please hire somebody awesome because it's going to matter.
And Amazon...
I mean, who they hire is going to...
She's right.
Is going to set the tone.
She's right. Hire someone who is like a Kevin Feige, who will be maybe not responsible for all of the writing and all of the stuff, but hire someone who's going to have the vision...
Keeps the mythos in mind.
To drive everyone back to Tolkien and get the right people on this team. And look, we just took a whole bunch of people off for other practical business reasons, and because some of them have said they're not interested in being involved in this. There we go. We've got showrunners to worry about. We are still speculating who's going to get involved to run this whole enterprise for Amazon.
For the young Aragorn, they may go with somebody who's an unknown.
Yep.
I mean, there's no reason not to, because that way they could sort of have him create the character as opposed to, he was so good in this, this, and this, and have a preconceived notion. I mean, not that Viggo wasn't already a star beforehand, but, I mean, aside from, was it Red Tide?
Yeah.
He hadn't done a big movie before. And so, in fact, a lot of the cast on the original Lord of the Rings, besides Sir Ian and Christopher Lee, weren't big names.
Right.
You had very few that were big names, and the show and the movies made them.
Yep.
So that was kind of I guess we're getting the wrap signal.
We are. We're wrapping it all up. Yep. Come on in, guys. The bar's open. Come on in. Don't be shy. Oh, that's so funny. Yes, we've got people who just went to Looky Loo, but they don't want to buy a drink. I love it. That's Hollywood for you. I love it. All right, we're going to wrap up the show, everybody. This has been a very energized and very exciting conversation.
Awesome.
I am so thankful to you, Kathy, for your insight
for womansplaining you.
And for no, I'm just joking. No, but I'm just really glad that after 18 years, the OneRing.net,
we get to geek out again.
We get to geek out. We get to freak out, and we're going to bring you all the news, folks. That's what we do. We're going to bring you the news.
Our trailer, when the trailers for the Hobbits were coming out, and we were up at like 3 a.m. as we were all writing reviews.
We were all up, like sacrificing our day jobs just to do like frame-by-frame analysis of the earliest teaser trailers from Fellowship of the Ring. It was just so much. But before we go overtime, and that's going to be a separate show on HBO, Overtime. Sorry. We're going to wish you guys the best week. Watch our Twitter feed.
Memorial Day weekend is coming up for the Americans.
And it is, yeah, the Memorial Day weekend. That means there's gamers conventions. There's a
barbecues.
There's a Doctor Who convention, Gallifrey, this weekend, isn't there?
No. Gallifrey's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor Who convention, Gallifrey is in.
Yes, excellent.
In Valentine's Day.
Oh, then the Gallifrey convention is over Valentine's Day.
Phoenix Comic-Con is this weekend.
Okay, Phoenix Comic-Con is happening.
Although they call it something else now because of the lawsuit.
And then there's Strategicon here in Los Angeles for all the gamers who are going to be playing Warhammer, Dungeons & Dragons, and all those other fun things. You guys enjoy the Memorial Day weekend and keep your eyes on...
And we'll have more deep dives for you later.
And go see Star Wars so we can talk
Solo.
about Alden Ehrenreich as Aragorn.
I don't want to talk... No, if he's playing a young Han Solo, then that's his job.
We want Baby Driver.
He doesn't get to be young Aragorn as well.
The actor
Okay.
who played Baby Driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, why not? Okay. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
I'm not a... All right, this has been a fantastic show. And again, you can follow us everywhere on all social media at The One Ring Net. And, of course, you can follow me at QuickBean2000 on Twitter and Instagram. Kathy?
I'm Cruising Kathy.
Cruising Kathy.
With a C. Cruising Kathy on Twitter.
It sounds like a William Friedkin film that you just...
It sounds like a travel agent who will be posting nothing but cruise stuff all weekend long from a brand new ship that happens to have a racetrack on it and a laser tag
cute.
game.
I want to make that joke, though. Sorry.
Okay.
The William Friedkin film where you get to see a young Al Pacino in leather chaps.
Well, there's also the cruising of cruising the boulevard because we are in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
we're cruising the boulevard. And hey, thank you again to Scum and Villainy and all the wonderful people
We're
here
sorry for shushing you.
at the Star Wars Cantina. These guys are fantastic, and thank you, JC, and everybody for hosting us. And yes, sir, thank you for being our live audience right here, all the way from the United Kingdom. Yes, sir. All right, you guys come and join us live anytime, and we're going to see you here next week on the OneRing.net Torn Tuesday. Good night, everybody.